Da, da, da.
And backup recording in progress. Because you need to be careful about Mental's janky old Mac.
Mental. He's getting a new one. He just hasn't yet.
All right, you've been a little busy.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions, tips,
tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy,
and I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a DZ episode of our podcast. The Chevy 302 cubic inch power plant is regarded as one of the most legendary small blocks that were ever made. Developed for the first gen Z28, it is uses the block from a 327 and the crankshaft from a 283, which gave the Camaro a 302.4 cubic inch displacement. The smaller engine that was within the 60s era SCCA Trans Am limit of our 305 cubic inches and let the Z28s rival the famous Boss 302s from Ford, and probably what you thought we would say for this episode. Also, what is that what you said?
I thought so.
And also, you can also tell that I absolutely wrote this copy. Just saying, not part spin designing a race motor. Try the E1R bingo card because you never know what's going to happen.
I'm sure Joey 50 with his Fox body is upset that we went to the old Chevy version, which is much more obscure. But yes,
that was so much.
Yeah.
Sorry and thanks. Okay. What you working on? I'm sorry I had to say this, Mental, because I already know what Chris is working on. What you working on?
So it's the start of our busy season. I actually just got my schedule for the next couple of weeks, but I should still be able to do the show. If in the next 4 weeks you suddenly just wake up and there's not a show, it's because I probably texted my co-host at 4:30 or 7:35 p.m. and went, can't make it. And we just didn't get a chance on that one. But that's what's going on there. And I met up with an old buddy, and then even went to a local long-term buddy who lives here, our listener, Slider LeDuc. Got some great live feedback of shows actually still going great, and he still listens to it every week. And it's fun because he's not a car guy, but he just likes listening to us.
Oh, yay. That is fun.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
It's okay, Mental, if you can't make it someday, because we actually need real jobs to be able to do this
all this crap nonsense that we do.
Yes. Oh, you mean that we don't make all of our millions and are able to drive all these fancy cars because we have this podcast? Weird.
Yep. Fancy cars.
Had no idea. Right. Well, some of us.
Hey, I got a Corvette.
Hey.
I drove to work today in an 04 Suburban with 236,000 miles on it, but
that's name was Snowflake.
That's true. Because I'll say I have been working on Snowflake. But
good
we
segue.
went to the beach this weekend, and you've all heard about the beach card I was making. Great success. Looks great. Works great. All is well. I would like it if it would steer itself a little bit better, just because it's very heavy when it's full, and you have to give it a little muscle to keep it straight on the angled sloped crosswalks or sidewalks when you're on them. But steering is hard to do easily on those things, and in the sand it doesn't really do it anyway. So I like that the cast-steering nose wheels work okay.
We actually have a lot of listener feedback about that video, and if you haven't seen it, it didn't end up on our Instagram, but it is on Facebook.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry.
It's all good.
Could have done that. It still can, actually.
It's freaking dope. It's awesome.
It was so much work.
Definitely on the way back from the beach, several people were like, whoa, what's it electric? Or how'd you do that? Yeah. And so all these
super
people
fans
pushing and pulling their stuff. What's up with that? Anyway, So on the way home from the beach, Chrissy's parents are coming home in Snowflake because they had brought it earlier in the week to bring the beach cart down because you need a large vehicle to carry said beach cart. And I get a call that they're about half hour from home and Snowflake's running hot. It's running real hot. So eventually they pull over. It's in a pouring rainstorm, but let it cool off a little bit. Come to find out after looking around, it's low on water. So they topped it off with water, got it home, eventually got it here. Sure enough, it is pouring out of the gasket, one of the two gaskets that attaches the water pump to the block. It was like steady stream from that gasket once I filled it back up with water again. So Snowflake got a new water pump, thermostat and housing, upper and lower hoses, heater hose, and a good solid coolant flush, and got rid of all the Dex Cool in the system for non-Dex Cool coolants. And it's great. Took it to work today just to make sure nothing didn't blow a head gas or anything like that. All is well. Snowflake soldiers on. 236,000 miles.
I say 236,000 miles. It is completely possible that that's the original water pump.
That's what we were assuming.
I know you didn't replace it. So, and I haven't yet either. So it probably is.
So yeah, we definitely got the, that engine was certainly built on a like Tuesday after a Lions win or something, because everybody was in a good mood.
Yeah, those truck was built in Texas, so it was a Rangers win or something. Yes, and agreed, because I was thinking this today. The 4L60 transmission in that is all still original to that truck.
That you never see. You hate that transmission too.
I do, because they almost never last this long. Like this is, knock on wood,
exceptional.
Yes, the 1-2 shift is a little hard when it's cold, and it sometimes flares a 3-4 shift. But with this kind of mileage, it's okay. Let's keep it going as long as we can, because that's going to be the downfall. Anyway, Chrissy, I know what you're working on, but someone's got to ask you.
I went to the beach. Yay. And then did housework. And my garden is blooming and in flourishing, and it's wonderful to walk out and say, I would like a couple pieces of Swiss chard, a bunch of green beans, some snap peas while I'm eating dinner, and I need to pick some lettuce for my lunch. So pretty awesome. Yep. Okay.
Agreed.
News and notes time.
News and notes. You know what? This is unfortunate. There's no more Vermont loophole. Mercedes. I know. I was going to use this for the Citroen, but you would have to pay sales tax on the book value, and the book value on a 73 Citroen SM is.
Let's not do that.
Dirty, and I didn't want to pay that much. So, oh well. Anyway, Mercedes Street at Autopian has a story, but short version is criminals ruined it for those of us who, are only real scofflaws buying untitled hoopties. So 2 weeks ago, the Maple State updated its policies on issuing registrations to people living elsewhere. An official response to Mercedes from the Deputy Commissioner of Vermont DMV goes, quote, "They are coming just for the paperwork and may never even drive the vehicle. The fees generated from out-of-state transactions should stay in the applicant's home states, and we believe that the impacts in states would agree," end quote. Statement adds that, quote, "Vermont has established a new policy for out-of-state residents conducting business with Vermont DMV. Such customers will now complete a form that requires them to visit their home state DMV. A member of that state's motor vehicle department agency must certify that the applicant is not required to register the vehicle in their home state." So yeah, how many states are going to say that? Turn down their licensing
then
fees?
Why would I do that?
None.
Yep.
Oh well.
None.
Makes it just that much harder to.
You know what they are?
a hoopty.
Fun suckers. That's what they are.
Other states need to come up with some kind of way that
Just
getting a title to a titleless
help
car
a girl out here.
is not impossible. Like there's got to be a way.
And I feel
Even
like
if
that's
it's
why the
hoops
Vermont
and
loophole
stuff.
Yeah. The Vermont loophole, as it was known, lasted for so long because it was, who the hell else is going to, try and title a, 73 Pontiac Ventura that they pulled out of a barn. And, Vermont's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Sure. Here you go.
It's fine to do a double check that we didn't steal it. Sure. Okay, fine. Like let's just make sure, but don't I need to get my 3 best friends to tell them, yes, I've seen you not steal this car. And then I have to do an ad in a newspaper in the 10 local states of yours, or every state that it might have been. No.
And then Rhode Island never freaking responds.
Yeah.
And then they say, screw you.
And it's a shame because Vermont was helping us out, but they if you read the article, which is actually it's a good article, there were people showing up with like some no kidding sketchy stuff, like people with power of attorneys for 15 vehicles showing up, and they're all out of Florida and they're all exotics, and then they're yelling at DMV employees so much that they had to start posting cops in the DMV because people were getting violent.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
too
that's,
I mean,
bad.
that's never something a hoopty owner does.
right.
No.
And obviously they make these rules for people. They're for people. They're probably not like us, the people that are just trying to get damn car titled. I don't even want the title. I just want to get rid of the car. I just want the title and
Yeah.
go away.
Oklahoma used to have a thing like yours where you had to take an ad in the paper, look, it will be auctioned off and that sort of thing. And there were companies that would put up the bond to do it. And the sale was always at a very inconvenient time. But if you had a legitimate claim to the car, you could let them know ahead of time. And that all worked. And then the same thing, people were stealing cars and abusing it. And all my hoopty owning friends in Oklahoma suddenly had no means of titling a 53 Pontiac Chieftain that they pulled out of a field. And that's a real example.
Oh, sadness. Okay. Well, read the article. Okay. Nick DeVries. Remember this kid? One of our picks for the season as a standout apparently is not that. Eric King at Jalopnik writes that despite scoring points in 2022 with Williams, DeVries is last in the Drivers' Championship. As King says, in a season where AlphaTauri's very existence has been up for discussion, the team and Red Bull has made the move. The move. Guess who's back? Danny Ricciardo is back. That's right. The Red Bull reserve is a reserve no more. Danny Rick is replacing Nick DeVries at AlphaTauri immediately, actually, and will make his first start for the team at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2.5 weeks. Ricciardo himself was quoted, "I am stoked to be back on track with the Red Bull family, but make no mistake, this is Ricciardo's last chance." Sonoda has been praised for merely finishing in the AlphaTauri. Here's hoping Danny Rick can make his return stick. Yeah, we'll see.
Be fine as long as he keeps being Danny Rick. When he got all serious at McLaren, was like, racing.
He
not
was
to lose.
just sucking.
He was.
I don't know. I think he's one of the few people that can get back in the car right now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have many people that have super license. So
No.
you're picking, your pool is very small. And people,
It's all the backup drivers. It's like the Mick Schumachers and the Antonio
he didn't do very well.
Giovinazzi,
He's not very
right,
good.
right.
Latifi.
Or they're going to pull Robert Kubica out of
Sure, right? Maybe Grosjean will come back. Like you've
go.
only have a couple people that you can pick from. So
and he did do good in a tire test at Silverstone. I hope that when he comes back, he stays the Danny Ricciardo, just the big goofball that we all fell in love with season 1 of Drive to Survive.
my expectations are over down there.
It's AlphaTauri. All he has to do is finish.
Yeah.
Even
your
then.
expectations are about as high as AlphaTauri's latest finishing places. So.
Ooh, with the elbow. There we go. Now, we all know Jay Leno is a prolific car collector and historian, but the comedian has a larger logistics issue looming that even he didn't see coming. After having a double blowout in his 1972 Mercedes 600, he realized just how many of his tires, while they are looking fine, are way beyond their expiration date. The tires in his collection are aging out they're aging out before they're wearing out. Now, he wrote this article himself for Hagerty, and he figures he needs about 1,200 tires. And he's Jay Leno. He refuses to go cheap. I guess he can afford it. But it's a good piece, and it's actually worth the read for anyone who has a car that they don't drive all the time, a hobby car, the weekend car, the run up the street and get ice cream cones car. So we've got a link to that in our show notes, and it's worth a read. Now,
needs to be his own tire distributor, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like this is a golden opportunity for, for all of his cars to get equipped with Mucho Machos from Cosmo Tire, the official tire supplier of Jay Leno. So if you're listening there, Cosmo,
If Corker doesn't work something out with him, then they're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
Really.
they have failed. There's no reason he can't walk around in a denim shirt that says, whatever tire company that gives him all that stuff.
Yep.
As we often do, we spend a lot of time on the Racing Junk website. We know that once we start talking about the Alaska Rally here in a few minutes, you're all going to be mad jealous of Dominic Cordell's super sweet AMC Eagle wagon that I drove in the Alaska Rally, or even the Team Mustangs. And you can find them on Instagram under that as well. And that car was actually on fire before the rally started. And they had a piece of sheet metal for a dashboard. But thanks to racingjunk.com, you can have your own sweet AMC Eagle wagon. It's in Cadillac, Michigan, and it is a sweet wood grain model. It's a 6-cylinder auto. It runs and drives, has new brakes, and only needs a headliner, also like the one I drove in the Alaska Rally. And I'm going to share the screen right now because this little baby is gorgeous.
Every single 80s American car needs a headliner. It's either had it done or it still needs it.
I remember reading.
And that's you get the ones with push pins in it.
Oh yeah.
Push pins.
I remember reading someplace that it was because everybody smoked, and the cigarette smoke would wear out the glue on that. All right. I am losing
also
my.
Just that the foam comes apart.
Yeah.
The foam all comes apart. Well, Metal, we can see the
I know.
ad
I
here.
don't understand why my big
That's
screen
great.
decided just to oddly die, but there we go. So there's that. And I'm going to see if I can't turn back on my camera.
Who is that clean cut young
Who's
gentleman
this
in the
guy?
picture?
I don't even recognize him.
Hair was ear
Weird.
level hair. That's all. That dates you right there.
I know. Hey, and if you want to go and browse stuff like that, go to Racing Junk, use code POD23, and that's going to give you a sweet deal on a professional membership. It's like literally it's like $20. And if you sell anything, the first thing you sell is going to pay for itself. You get like all over the country.
Totally.
Then you get a dashboard, find out who's keeping track of your stuff. You can save searches, search alerts, all that kind of stuff. So just, drop a little coin, make us look good to Racing Junk. They've been good to us.
I'm
Pod
gonna put the
23.
Corvette on there before long when I finally actually am
know.
home to take pictures of it and put it not fixing snowflake and
And
things.
sell it and try to find somebody that will take
Please
it
take
and
my
give it to
Corvette.
them.
It's going to,
Please
it's going to
take it.
love that vet. It's got a great story.
Okay. Before we move on, this is a little bit connected to Racing Junk, but the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix YouTube. Check out everything about Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. We just got off a phone call with these guys. Super excited about the people we're going to talk to. It is going to be, this live stream is going to be awesome. It is going to be they're professionals and really a wide variety of people that know this stuff. So it is going to be super awesome. I would suggest that you go look at it. They're going to be putting links on the website. There's going to be every link that they're going to have is going to go back to the website, so you can kind of jump around and see the different videos that are going to be on there. So lots going on. Make sure that you check that out. That is not this weekend. That is next weekend. That is going to be the 20-something weekend, 21st, 2nd, 3rd weekend. But definitely check it out. Look at the website. Yeah, that's where it's going to go.
I wish I'd known they were doing that. We could have given them our YouTube. Well, they still let us go live. Yeah. Okay. Well, bummer.
Upcoming races.
Champ Car is at MSR Houston. I cannot imagine racing in Houston right now in the heat dome that they are in with no. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds all right. Hydrate up, people. Hydrate up. And here's probably the result of that. 15 cars. That is a 1 and a 5 in that order. More cars I could see parked in the street in front of my house right now. 2 BMWs, 7 Miatas, no Hondas, no Porsches. Let's tell you about all the other 6 cars that are there. The 70 Mustang, and
some cool stuff. Yeah,
An
that
84
70
Celica
Mustang is
Supra, cool.
Yeah.
And AER can be very thankful that Champ Houston is making their turnout look good.
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they're doing their I believe this is their 20. No, they don't know. Sorry, Champ's got a 24 coming up. Yeah, they got AER VIR this weekend. They got 40 cars. 27 of those are BMWs. No Miatas. That's a new one on me.
I know. I looked.
yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. 2 Hondas and 6 Porsches, and I think the rest of it you could count the makes on this hand.
Mm-mm.
And yeah,
No, I don't even
hope they
think
have
so.
fun.
They're all
Yeah.
just boring.
Yeah,
All these
yeah,
people at both these tracks are going to be a little bored.
yeah,
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
the HPDE run groups at VIR are bigger than 40 cars.
For serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of groups bigger than 40 cars, we love all of our listeners.
Yeah.
I was like, where are you going with this? Let's do it on a recent recording of the Garage Heroes and Training Rally,
Same
Master
thing.
Jeff had a number of very nice things to say about us. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it.
I owe him a grilled cheese next time we see him then.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, inside joke with him. Apex Adjacent commented, congrats on episode 300. So awesome. Well done. Thanks,
Yay.
guys.
Thank you.
Just-
Thank you.
We kept showing up. That's about it.
Christy posted up the video of the aforementioned mighty beach buggy cart on the Facebooks.
And Keith M said, ugh, it needs a motor that makes vroom vroom sounds. Well,
I mean,
they don't let that on the beach. That's the
it kind of
problem.
does make a whiny
It
sound.
makes a whining sound. And then
It's-
Chrissy was complaining about the whining sound. And I
I
said, I don't know which
did.
whine is louder, you or the motor.
I
I think it sounds like a supercharger. It sounds awesome. It's great.
It doesn't spool up though. Al Jones says it's like a miniature version of Mental's trailer. And then I said it's nicer than his trailer. It's probably not stolen.
You're not wrong. Bill Fisher said you need to do a case swap on it.
Meh, meh.
David Eckel observed, it's a very thin line between walking this thing on the beach and throwing wicked rooster tails with this thing. I think with some tires that had some tread on it, it definitely could throw some rooster tails.
Absolutely.
Get some paddle tires. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. Matt Ferenchek said, nice. Now give it a cab and make it an FC.
Forward
Hey.
control.
Yep. And as Uncle Dave said, it's pretty awesome. It is. If you haven't
It
seen
was
it,
pretty
Chrissy's
awesome.
going to text me that video before the
Oh,
end of the show.
I can
We're
put it.
gonna
I'll
throw
just. No, I'll put it.
Oh
up
yeah, or
Insta.
throw it on the
I'll do
Instagram
it right now.
Yeah, so it'll be on the Instagram. It's on our Facebook. And thanks
Yeah.
for everyone who keeps up with all that other kind of stuff. We did get a ton of feedback on everything we were doing for the rally, so much so that it was just more than we wanted to delve into because that's what we're going to talk about this time. And
It'd be pretty much a whole show of us reading feedback if we went through all of it.
So
And a
much because
lot
there
of-
was so much going on.
Yes, I was even getting like text and in emails from various people going, "Oh man, I wish I should have gone." And the fact of the matter is, yeah, you should have. And
You know who shouldn't have gone? And it's better that they just stayed with their beach cart.
I was going to say absolutely not. I was going to say, the one person besides my wife that I wish I would have had with me on this rally. Oh, it's Chrissy's mom.
No.
Yeah, no, she would have loved it. It was beautiful up there, except for the
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Maybe she would. She likes an adventure,
Mhm.
but not too much peril. I don't know that she likes like hopelessness that sometimes happens with rallies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name
Yeah.
Seattle
And
would
by
not be
and by
either.
sometimes she means every rally. There's some
Yeah.
sort of
Sure.
peril.
A new Suburban would be more her speed on that trip. Yes.
Yeah. Rental selection.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
absolutely.
Okay. It's make time.
So, of course, we're going to talk about the Alaska Rally. It all started when the email went out to everyone who was on the wait list for the Alaska Rally. There were 15 waitlisted teams. Anybody want to take a guess of those 15 people? How many idiots just went ahead and paid for it before they had a car and then went
All
through
of
and made
them.
their hotel reservations? And
All of them.
nope. Just me. I'm the only one.
Oh.
I jumped on it and I don't regret it for a single second. I felt a little bad because I made all the hotel reservations based on it being just me. I thought I was going to have to go solo and buy a car, but we are going to talk about the Alaska Rally, how that shaped up. My
Gather round,
co-host
children. Mental is about to
questions.
spin a yarn for us.
just a bit, just a little bit of a
Right.
yarn.
So I remember like 2 weeks before you were going, I said to you, do you have a car? Do you know what you're doing? Or are you just going to show up and we're Craiglisting on the show? So like, tell the story. How'd you even get started with that?
So it was exactly that. it's a bit of a macro application of what we keep trying to tell people about going to track days or going to do a lemons race or something. Everyone, I'll go do this as soon as I get these tires, this shock, these springs, or I'll go racing as soon as I can afford this thing or other. And sometimes you just know the adventure's there. You just don't know how it's going to shape up. And I said, the heck with it. I spent a number of years in the military, and I've never been to Alaska, and everyone who has ever been there says it's beautiful, and either they love it or they don't, but they all say it's gorgeous. So I went. I didn't go. I just paid the rally entry, started looking for things here that I could drive up there, and then I did the math on how long that was going to take me. And I think straight driving, it was going to take
I'll run the math right now for you.
Yeah, I want to say 50 something hours of straight driving. So like 2.5 days without stopping to drive all the way up the Alcan back. And I just didn't have that kind of time. There's all kinds of other dumbness. So then I started looking around for things to, buy that were suitably hoopty-ish in Alaska.
I just checked Las Vegas, Nevada to Anchorage, Alaska. It's 3,400 miles. That's basically, it's further than driving to our house from your house.
Yes. And it would not have been the longest distance. It would have not even been top 5 longest distance somebody drove for this rally.
Oh no, come on. I mean, gentleman Dave drove all the way out from New Jersey. Sasha went up from Florida, right?
Well, I think he did it in stages, because he drove the K up from California, but yes, it had gotten out there. The other AMC Eagle was smart enough to take their $600 hoopty and spend several $1,000s putting it on a ferry and shipping it there. Donnie drove literally from Florida, and the Russ Cartel family drove up from Denver. So there were a lot of, and then the God bless it, I can't, the idiots, the collection of idiots, they drove, one of their guys drove their Crown Vic up from Texas and very happily left it in Alaska.
Collection of idiots doesn't narrow it down too much in general when you're talking about
That's
this.
actually their team name. I'm sorry, bunch of idiots.
But even still, it doesn't narrow it down.
Is it the person, or is it the does the team name, or is it their adjective about them?
Yeah, the Team XC90 kids. They did really well in the Texas rally, and it was a brother and sister, and they drug their other brother up on this one, but only one of them drove his 04 Honda Element of questionable reliability all the way up the Alcan. And they went out there and did that. And they had every intention of driving that thing off a cliff, but some Alaska locals went, I could actually use that car. And so they,
nice. That's fun.
Element it's a good Alaska car right there. 4-wheel drive and rubber floors and Honda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he had, that car owed him nothing when he drove it up there. So, but that's how it all happened. And while we're naming up all these team names, what was interesting about this, and Rally Master Jeff talked about it, and it's a shame we just couldn't get him on here. With any given rally, Lemons rally, it's very much like any sort of Lemons race. You've got your small percentage of people that are right there at the pointy end, and they are going to try, not to the detriment of everything else, but they're going to be competitive, they're going to be fast, they're going to come prepared, and they're not going to make a lot of mistakes. And then you've got your kind of middle of the ground. Yeah, we like racing, we like having fun, but the car is kind of prepared. And then there's the bottom feeders of, and at a rally, that breaks down into, there's the people that leave before dawn, and they are hitting checkpoints while everyone else is still eating breakfast. They maximize all their points, and they're fun to watch, and they're heavily themed, and they've got a really terrible car that will break down on them that they're totally going to fix. And then there's some people in the middle that bought a Crown Vic or something quasi-reliable, or a B-body wagon, which is the BMW of Lemons rallies. And then there's the people that wake up 5 minutes before they have to check out of the hotel, drive straight to the next hotel, and just start drinking. But
really, that's a thing.
That is 100% a thing. But this one, everybody came to play. There was no weak sauce entries. Even the rental car class, one of the teams just kept searching Turo until they found a manual transmission Jeep Patriot.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. What? Where do you find one of these? Apparently Alaska.
Yeah. Well, also
Okay.
there's not a lot of choices in rally routes. It's not like, the New England rally. Well, all right, we're starting in Boston. We're going to end up in Albany-ish. And, there's a whole bunch of ways you can get there and different checkpoints you could possibly go to, or you just go straight out to Mass Pike. This is, there's kind of like one road from each place to the next, or a ferry. That's it.
Yeah. Well, and both really. Yeah. And it's, that's why Jeff keeps saying they're not going back. It's one road. That's it. They drove the road. There's no hidden treasure along this route. So, but that's how I ended up there. And so I posted onto Facebook because I do have some friends who live up there and some friends who are stationed up there. And I was just looking to see if somebody would, be willing to, store a car for a couple days, let me show up, change some fluids and then drive something stupid. And then I was just going to give it to them. If I didn't drive it off a cliff at the end of the rally, it's all coming down to what kind of car I wanted. And there are actually, and we did this, we looked through the Facebook marketplace. Yeah. There were some really great bad decisions out there. There was an 82 Cadillac Eldo, the long hood coupe.
Yep.
That had my eye.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
80s Cadillac coupes have, and you have a great track record in rallies.
That's where Donnie says he made his mistake. Is he agreed to bring a Cadillac on a rally that he and I were both on, and we've caddied a rally to ultimate success, and we can never do it again. We broke it. The Cimarron that we won years ago with, you're not going to out caddy a Cimarron.
It's true.
So I see that one. So on that one, anyway, so I posted that up, and the folks that kind of facilitated the Alaska rally, the Cordals, and they're famous for racing the Chrysler 300 that they painted up like a Bentley. And then they had, after the Queen died, they put a casket on there, and it was the entire weekend was a tribute to the Queen and, her legacy, that sort of thing. So they're both from Alaska. Dominic still lives there with his daughter, Grace, and Julian had driven up there with his son. They reached out and said, what are you looking to do? And when I said, I'm just looking to have some fun, they sent me a picture that I think we showed on the preview of the 82 Eagle Summit wagon. Why not?
It's not a Summit. It's just an Eagle wagon.
Eagle wagon. Sorry, Eagle wagon.
The Summit was a
wagon.
Mitsubishi. Just want to make sure we're clear.
Yes. And this was every bit AMC 258 6-cylinder auto full-time. It's a full-time 4-wheel drive because it's a vacuum that puts it in 2-wheel drive. And because it was made in Kenosha, Wisconsin, when that vacuum system inevitably fails, it defaults to full-time 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, it does. So you can get home. And it's in Alaska. That's what they need all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when you got there, how was the car? Like, I'm assuming it was well prepared, turnkey, get in and drive, right?
So if we remember the pictures, the car was in a field in Alaska, and I was prepared to spend a lot of time and money on, well, in a relative sense, time and money just getting the thing to start. Dominic is a very Alaskan individual. He's very resourceful and will do anything to not have to put a new part on anything. And so he was trying to jump it with his truck, and it was sort of turning over. I'm like, it's for a new battery. It doesn't matter. Let's just go up to the street. We'll get a new battery. And if
It's a terrible reason to be
fix
stranded in the Alaska wilderness is because you have an old battery.
And if it doesn't work, I'll take it back and get my money back. So we went and put a new battery in there. He bolted in the new battery. I believe I put it in our Insta story before the rally even started. 2 squirts of starting fluid, not like saturating the carb like we always do. 2 squirts of starting fluid. It turned over and settled into an idle. It was amazing. I made the joke in the Insta story, and I was 100% right. My new Indy Miata was grumpier about starting when I got home 5 days later than this thing was after sitting in a field for a year and after being immobile for like 6 years before that.
That was AMC Straight 6 was a solid motor.
Still
say.
is, because it's the grandfather of the 4-liter. The person before had modified it. They had taken out the flip up back seats in the wagon and effectively turned that into a storage area. And we started calling it a monk. So it was really a 2-seater. There was a seatbelt if someone wanted to sit up front, because it's the old school bench seats on that one. So that was instead of the front trunk, that's a frunk, we started calling it the middle trunk, and that was the monk, which we immediately filled with tools.
As you should.
And also, if you weren't following along, something that I learned, the TSA is required to take any tool over 7 inches. So
take it away from you.
Confiscate. Yes. They offered me the option of going back and checking this luggage. It was the tool set I'd bought for the ill-fated Cadillac trip a few years ago. And this poor guy, he just looks exhausted. And he's like, we have to take all of your tools. They're more than 7 inches. And he's going through each of my tool sets and he's holding them up to a printed out ruler on their table. And so he had to take my long wrench, which was 7.5 inches. And then he left the 6 3/8 shorter ratchet in there. And I'm like, I'm not mad at the TSA. I'm mad at whatever bureaucrat is sitting in an office and they decided that's the danger line. 7 inches.
Yeah.
6 and
that gives
3/4.
Gives you enough grip that you can hit somebody with it, or like
I agree. 7 inches is just too big. No one needs more than that. That's fine.
Agreed.
Oh yes. So many good comments about that one, but it was just so arbitrary. Those tools are all still living in the that AMC Eagle, because I wasn't bringing them home after that one. But so the Dominic not wanting to spend money on the car thing, kind of it follows through. And I'm sorry, I phrased that wrong. Wanting to be resourceful. So we put the new battery in there. It starts up. We drive it around, and he's like, "Well, these tires hold air." And I'm like, "Not quite good enough for a safety regulation." Yeah. And I looked, and I could see dry rot.
Some air.
Yeah,
some air
splitting the seams. And these things actually, they're still holding air, but it was splitting the seams between the treads. And I'm like, this will explode 20 feet from the house, and just be an absolute nightmare. And I'm like, you know what? Just where's the nearest Walmart? I will find the cheapest 15-inch Korean knockoff,
Douglas Extra Tracks.
Yeah. Domo Dong tires and throw them on there.
They were in the back of the SEMA display, right?
Yeah.
Or the one with the tree, the empty one that didn't have.
Yeah.
Just a bush. Nobody was there. A dead fern. Yes. Yeah.
Totally was going to throw those on there.
Oh, okay.
But Dominic, he has as they race a 300. He has 2 of them. One is his parts car and one is his daily driver, which was our backup if we couldn't get the AMC. And what we noticed is the bolt pattern is exactly the same.
Get out.
So we pulled we pulled his 17-inch snow tires that he uses in the winter out of his storage shed, bolted them to the AC Eagle. They fit right up, except they rubbed at every potential contact point on all 4 corners all the way around the car.
No problem there.
Yeah, nope, none. And we had to disconnect the rear sway bar because the attachment point interfered with the wheel, and we tied that up. We didn't think we would be going fast enough on that one. And this is where, it's good to be resourceful. It's nice to have a bunch of tools in your mental toolbox that allow you to solve problems that maybe someone else couldn't solve. And we would just put the spring expanders in the front coil springs on the front wheels, and on the rears, we were going to we disconnected the rear axle underneath the leaf springs, and we were using hockey pucks to hold the axle down so that the tires would clear. And what we realized after doing all of that work, staying up until 12:30 the night before, is that does not keep the axle in place. So every time you put the car in gear, the axle would shift forward or backward, remarkably so. So
the real lifting blocks have
some actual ways to keep it in place. That
They have
a
they have
hockey
the
puck
they
does
have the
not.
locator bolts. So we just went and spent
Yeah.
the $50 on the proper Jeep lifting blocks, which surprisingly the O'Reilly's in Palmer, Alaska had
Hmm.
on the
I'm not
shelf in
surprised.
stock. Actually. But we'd stayed up, we just going through, sorting everything, vacuuming out all the schmutz and that sort of thing. And then just a handful of little oddball things, making sure it all had, all the fluids and the bulbs and everything. By the time we got done with all that, it was stupid late so we went to the opening rally ceremonies with no car, saw everyone go
Oh.
off, drove down straight to the O'Reilly's, picked up the blocks, put them on there, and we started 4 hours late. Just sometimes you just got to buy the part. Just buy the part. It was
Yeah.
obnoxious how much time we wasted trying to save $50.
Mm,
Yep.
that's unfortunate. But at least one of you is concerned that you can level set each other. I was trying to use the nicest words possible.
Yes.
Although the level is still askew, knowing the people involved.
Totes.
Yeah. Yep.
it was
Yes.
I came to a point where I'm like, oh, this is probably how Chris and Chrissy feel about me a lot, because Dominic is full of really good ideas that if you had 2 full days would be fantastic to execute. But my experience in disastrous rally vehicles was like, nope, just spend the money. And I was still under budget what I was going to spend to buy and register a car,
Mhm.
to drive up there and do it. An interesting aspect, Alaska has what they call Z plates. And if it is under like an artist exclusion. So you basically buy permanent plates for a vehicle. They never expire. And as long as you have insurance, you're safe and legal. And the registration comes with it. It says non-expiring registration, which is what Dominic had on this car. And it's a
Interesting.
blessed age we live in, because I had insurance before I got on the plane to fly up there. I just used the VIN code, and he was saying it was an 84 Eagle Wagon. When I typed in the VIN code, it came back 82 Eagle Wagon. So
Either way.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So you're 4 hours late. Your rear axle is steady now, and you're on the move. How's day
Vroom.
one? What's going? How's the car drive? Your initial impressions. You're driving down the road in Alaska. How's this thing rolling?
surprisingly well. It was just car. I mean, it drove like an 82 AMC, but it drove like an 82 AMC 30 years ago. It's
Okay.
it's not going to impress you. It's got all of the torques. You're always in 4-wheel drive. There's just kind of a mechanical limit to the top speed. Little bit of play because all the rubber bushings are gone and we've got no rear anti-sway bar. So, she dances a little on the frost heaves, but we were never a hazard. We didn't have stacks of people up behind us on 2-lane roads. We never worried about easing onto the freeway or pulling into traffic. It was hilarious. The car actually, it drove pretty well. In fact, I think during that trip, Dominic decided he fell in love with it and it's going to be his winter car this year.
Get out. That doesn't
It's got the
that
clearance now.
happens.
Yeah, it stacks up pretty high. And day one, we were driving from Palmer, Alaska, which is just outside of Anchorage. We had to drive through Anchorage. There were some checkpoints in there. And we went to Homer, Alaska, which is just like idyllic little tiny fishing village. Beautiful. People go there for vacation, and I absolutely understand why. Early on, Dominic, we've not met outside of me judging their car to Lemon's race. But when I showed up with my own spacesuit and the theme, the eagle has landed, and I'm just like, all right, buy this part, do it, don't care, make the car go. He realized that he had a spiritual connection of insanity. And our third stop in Anchorage, where I'm stepping out and making these ridiculous poses in my one-piece spacesuit, he's like, we got to stop here real quick. And he ran inside the Alaska equivalent to Party Galaxy, came out with his own astronaut costume. And that one even had a space helmet on it. So that was fun. So seeing that I was unafraid to be an idiot in public, he's like, oh, thank God I can be myself. And he was fully comfortable with just any dumb idea we came up with. That was fantastic.
Excellent.
Awesome.
being okay with being an idiot in public is a prerequisite for spending enough time with mental on car adventures.
I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, no, it's good. That's you have to embrace the insanity to do a rally properly. You'll have a better time if you just go,
Yeah.
F it.
Don't try to be
I'm never
cool.
ever going to see any of these people, not non-rally people, ever again. I'm giving them a story to tell for the day, and everyone else, the rally people, they'll like you better for it. All right.
Yes.
So you made it through day one. Everything, the car's rolling, everything's solid. You got your costumes.
Yeah.
Great. How's day two? Homer to Valdez.
We ended up, because we got into Homer a little late, and then we had to meet up some people out there. If you're ever in Homer, go to the Salty Dog. It's one of those kind of, it's a known tourist kind of, I don't even know what just it's a must see. Just go there. It's a great bar. We went there. So, but we came back from that one a little late. We met a group we met a group of Irish expats from Canada that had bought a crappy Toyota Sienna with the intention of just driving it through Alaska and launching it off the Glacier Bay car launch that it was at the end of it. And they were in Homer. So yeah, that's how we ended up spending too much time with them. Here it is. And I'm going to share the screen so no one else can see it, but they painted this thing up as a Jurassic Park vehicle, complete with a set of moose horns on it. There
Excellent.
it is.
Yeah, Jurassic Park, Indiana with moose horns.
And if you're watching on YouTube, this picture, this was taken at 11:30 at night.
So confusing.
It looks like it's 8:30. Right.
Broad daylight, but you can see the moon coming up and you can see the mountains in there. So yeah, they found out who we were. We slapped a couple stickers on that one, and we did get to see it die. I posted a video last night of all of my experiences at the Glacier Bay Car Launch. You can find that on our YouTube, and if I'm smart enough, there'll be a link to it right here. So
cool.
That was. So we met up with them. So we got a little bit of a late start because there's just the one road in Alaska. So we had a hard time to catch our ferry to Valdez from Whittier. So we had to backtrack up from Homer. So rolling through a couple of very steep passes. We're driving it in second gear just to get it to climb hills. It's doing it. It's just not going to do it in a hurry. But we did, I managed to get up once, according to the GPS, to 84 miles an hour down a hill.
Wow, that's a downhill. That's amazing. Great job.
Yes. To get from there to Whittier, there is a train tunnel that twice an hour, the train doesn't go through. You buy a ticket and they block off all traffic one direction. Send it all the way through the train tunnel. It takes about 15 minutes to drive through the mountain. And then you emerge on the other side in Whittier, and then they do the same thing back. And then they keep it all locked off while the train goes through there. So we drove through a mountain to get to Whittier, which used to be this tiny little town with one giant army barrack for defense artillery for when the Russians were going to come barreling across there. Now it is just this beautiful little tiny port town full of fishermen and dock workers and cruise ship people. And we were on the Aurora, the ferry that would take us on there. And you could, as we are all lining up to catch the ferry to Valdez, you could see the dock workers all start giving each other some very strange looks, like, why are all these weirdos in these weirdo cars all coming on the boat at once? And you can see everyone on the Lemons Rally, we had various perspectives on that one. And finally, about halfway through, as we're loading the ferry, one guy goes, all right, seriously, what is this kind of, what is this nonsense? All you guys are dressed up like weirdos and you got a bunch of weird cars. We explained it to them. And then they all kind of looked at each other, started laughing, and instantly every one of them pulled out their phones and started snapping pictures of every weird car that was on the ferry. And it was an absolutely lovely ride on the ferry. Beautiful. You just really get to appreciate Alaska.
About how long did that ride take on the ferry?
It was like 7 hours. 7 hours
Okay.
total from being in the parking lot to driving into Valdez. So you
So
had
that's
some interesting
way less than it
cars.
would take to drive from Whittier to Valdez, like
Exactly.
order of
About the same
magnitude
amount
less.
of points. But yes, way less. So like, and I'm just going to throw this as like a completely, not in reality example. Like if you had a questionable 80s Chrysler product with a hated legacy that had once had a roll cage and you ripped out of it, and it was so bad that your girlfriend, fiance had borrowed her brother's truck from the Park Service because he lives there in Alaska, and then you forgot to buy the ferry ticket for that support vehicle, and your very patient girlfriend who knows you own part of an airplane now has to drive all the way around,
Oh no.
you might find yourself in a little bit of a doghouse.
Wow, that's a shame.
That's an interesting hypothetical that you come up with there, Menzel.
Yeah, it's very
with that level of
specific.
detail. Yes. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that person would be considered very, very incredibly patient. I think.
Patient. I was going to go with
more
patient.
than the rest of us could have possibly tolerated at this point. I think.
Yes,
But
especially when the short answer that they found out right as the boat was pulling away would have been just buy this individual a person ticket, which is very cheap for them to ride the ferry, then you drive the support vehicle around. But that
Yes.
news didn't come out until after it was too late.
Oh no. Wow.
yes. Oh, I didn't know until it was too late. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, if you have not seen it, it's buried in the many, many updates from the rally, but we did get everyone who was on that boat from the Lemons Rally staff. And I think just some randos joined in to actually sing the first couple of verses of I'm on a boat.
I saw it. It was great. Really, really good. I did not show it to Chris. I don't know why I was watching it when he didn't. So he probably didn't see it. Very good.
Yeah. If I'd have been better prepared, I would have had it queued up, but
no, you shouldn't, because we can't.
That's all right.
Then we get kicked off.
That's right. Yeah. We get demonetized with
Don't
all the
do
money
that.
we're making on this one. So
Or they take it
props
off.
to everybody who was on that, the Bob, the XE90 kids, the Bear Patrol, the troopers, all of those guys. Everyone just leaned into it. It was really, really fun. Between the guys that were dressed up like TV cops and the Bear Patrol, there were about like 8 people walking around there in what looked like to be some sort of law enforcement uniform. And early on, you could see the normies all like, oh goodness, thank goodness there's a lot of law enforcement. Oh, wait a minute. It's more of those weirdos. Oh,
Pretty much.
Screwing with the normies.
yes.
That's a rally for you. Good.
But
all right, so you get to Valdez.
For people that didn't, you could have actually also you had like 5 checkpoints. So the points, it's Rally Master Jeff Stobbs. There's a reason he got that job title. So it would have balanced out. You could have come away with the same amount of points, just not nearly as much fun. And the food was actually pretty good on the boat.
Plus, you get to see Alaska from the water. Like that's got to be a great just experience to do that. So
yes, yeah, exactly. All right, so, sorry, cut you off, Chris.
No, just you ended up in Valdez.
Yes,
of Exxon fame. And
the boat that was named after the town that became, which I was reminded of how old I was by how many people on the rally didn't know that story, like at all. That there was once a boat that ripped in there. So we check into the recommended rally hotel. I had booked all these ahead of time, even before the car, and it was the Keystone Hotel. And if you listen to the Garage Heroes and Training episode, you hear Jeff Stobbs go, we all get there and like, what the hell? It's a hotel made out of recycled air sea land containers. I'm not exaggerating. It was exactly the same layout as the barracks that I would stay in when I was deployed. And Jeff and I just kind of look at each other and went, oh God, this is just bringing back so many negative flashbacks. While signing into the Hotel Valdez, the young lady at the front desk was very, very polite, but we had to sign agreement, breakfast is at this time, won't do this, won't do this. It's spelled out on the agreement that I had to initial was there is no cleaning fish in the bathtub.
Oh, darn. Where are you going to clean them?
which is what the Texas guy right behind me was like, oh my, oh geez, what the hell are
My
we supposed
fish
to-"
is going to be very dirty for tomorrow. So I need to clean my fish.
Yes, no cleaning fish in the tub. I just love that has happened so often that they had to print it that way.
Wow.
So the recommended bar that night was the Fat Mermaid. And those poor people, it's already tourist season. They're already booked beyond belief. And then 50 weirdos show up, and they were, I think, less than willing to let us in until
Really?
they did. And a couple of us had gotten in early, and they realized how we treat serving staff, just Lemons people in general, and how we tip. And 20 minutes after they were closed, they were still seating Lemons people.
Wow.
Because
That's an
they're
honor.
like,
That's great.
yeah, they're like, oh, wait a minute. Let's feed these people. They're going to, they're not going to be mean. They're going to treat us well. We're going to have a great time. So we did that. So the Fat Mermaid, if you're ever in Valdez, Alaska, great staff, good pizza on that one. And then the next day we went to the Potato, I think it's called, or something. They're the rugged potato, big crop that doesn't leave Alaska, but they grow a lot of potatoes up there. So that's
Good
where we
to
got
know.
breakfast. And we left from Valdez and drove on our way to Fairbanks, which required a great deal of time, over 10,000 feet, which
Oh, that's exciting.
the Eagle did not love climbing up that high.
Oh, that's right. Your car
Mm.
doesn't like it. I was like,
Climb,
you like
Eagle,
it?
climb.
Yeah. How many
Yes.
times did you say that?
Well, so after following us the entire day prior, in the normie van that Julian had borrowed from a friend of theirs, Dominic's daughter was like, I would like to be a part of the rally. So she put on my spacesuit, and her dad hopped in the Eagle wagon. And then they were doing all the dumb stuff. And that started even the night before, where we had started a hella sweet mural on the roof of the said Eagle of an eagle, because that's what you do. And his daughter is an amazing artist, and she is also completely comfortable being a weirdo. I don't know why it's not letting me. All right, fine. I have to stop share and see if it lets me go forward.
Yep.
There it is. And so several of the checkpoints, she is now wearing the spacesuit.
Your spacesuit.
Spacesuit
So
costume.
My
that's
spacesuit.
not weird and gross. It's
because I wasn't, it was I was wearing clothes under it the whole time I had it on. So it's not like
Okay.
wasn't a driving suit.
He
You
only
know.
rubbed his balls on it twice.
Ew, 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 ew.
So
Ew.
yeah. So Grace was like out of the gate completely prepared to be a lunatic, as you can see. With,
These are good pictures. That's great.
yeah. So we stopped. But this was a great, very long drive all the way up. And between, Julian, being a very proud Alaska native, has a lot of Alaska pipeline trivia.
Mm.
And we stopped many times to stare at the pipeline. It's a pipeline, cool, oil, neat,
It comes
and-
from there and it
Right.
goes from there to there. Cool.
Right, exactly. And Dominic he's a big data guy. So he has spent his life putting fiber optic cable and point-to-point communications, and maybe, some satellite, or also just dishes that are pointed at each other. So as we continue down this and we're going through all these things, it is 12:30 the next day before we check into the hotel at Fairbanks.
Wow.
Oof.
It's a long day.
Although it's still
I'm-
light out.
It's still light out, because Fairbanks is even farther up, and it was even more so. The sun actually never set. We did have a lovely dinner with a place in North Pole, Alaska. But while this is happening, I've gotten to be a little tired and irritated. So I have Julian on the final day. I'm like, okay, we have to be at the award ceremony at this time. How long is it a drive from checkpoint 5 to where this award ceremony is? He's like, all right, it's going to be about 70 minutes. Okay, it's 90 minutes. So backtrack. We have to be leaving this place at this time. Got it. And I have him. This is how you plan an air war. You have a time and a desired effect, and you backtrack, and then you work it all the way back to when you take the plane off. So I have him go through and do all of this. The next day, we get up early, we have a great breakfast, we discuss our game plan, and by the third stop, we're 90 minutes behind schedule.
Oh. And how did that happen?
A lot of very creative people that really wanted to do a lot of very creative things. And I had to start going, okay, look, we got it on the first take. You guys are awesome. I love what was the most
You're
interesting
the organizational force of this group.
Yeah.
What?
When
Yes,
Mental's the
I'm
one trying to keep you
Chrissy.
on
When I'm the
time.
Chrissy of the group.
I mean, good for you. Props, high five. You're great. And when you are the one who's saying, okay, we've taken enough pictures, that's amazing and surprising and
But
great.
happening the day before, now Julian and his son Jeremiah, they're also in on the insanity. So we had some great videos on that one, but I'm like, we really have to be at this place on time. Come on. And we did have a couple of instances where climbing through the higher passes, the Eagle was not happy and it began to run a little hot, and occasionally at idle, the oil light would come on. So we were starting to get worried. The closer we got to Palmer, though, Julian was like, I'll ditch this thing right here and come get it in a couple of days with my trailer. I'm not, too worried about it.
The oversized tires impact on your gear ratios, especially at altitude, I think was notable.
Yeah. And just, you're not getting a lot of airflow through a radiator that, is 90% of the front end of that car. And yeah, there was a lot of, just a lot of factors, very, very hoopty, made us worry a few times, but never actually left us stranded. So
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not fantastic for most people that go on rallies. It's not my favorite part of rallies. So that's great. Good for you.
for you.
Excellent. So you made
No,
it there.
it
You got there. You were late.
No,
No, you
Rolled
made up
in.
the time.
we had to skip the optional checkpoints, and a few of the things were like, stop the car, do not get out of the car under no circumstances, get out of the car, stay in the car. And I would jump out of the van, snap the picture, go. And we did almost run it out of gas because of trying to keep us all on schedule. No one paid attention to the consumption of the Eagle on that one, but I
would think
dodged
running
that
out of
bullet as
gas
well.
is really pretty bad in Alaska.
You would think correctly.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
What was your? Did you ever calculate your fuel economy? How did the Eagle do?
Had no means of actually checking the mileage because the speedometer was broken, and we just didn't care because we didn't figure we were ever going fast enough. We did get pulled over for having studded snow tires out of
Saw that.
season, which every word of that makes sense to me, but it's just something I've never encountered in my 52 years on Earth. But I think the one time we did do the math on it, it was about the same as my RV. I want to say about between
8?
10 and 13 miles per gallon. So, yeah.
Okay, good.
Wow. Okay.
But gas there is like, I think the most expensive I saw was $4.34 for premium.
Same as it is here.
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
expecting worse.
Yeah. They make the stuff there, so no one cares.
Still,
The Eagle got some mad
Okay.
props everywhere. Like while we were filming one of the videos, we're literally standing there doing like a thing, and these two guys roll up in a flatbed new Super Duty Chevy, and just halfway through the video, you just hear in the background, and we
can't hear
Also,
anything you
I'm
just
No,
said.
you can't.
It was just-
Everything
it
at
was-
Zoom
yeah, the
just
distance
blocked
was-
you out.
I'm trying to do.
Nope, still not. Sorry.
All right, but basically, two guys just started yelling "AMC, fuck yeah!"
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for translating. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate
I was
it.
trying to create the mood. Yeah.
Nope.
too much.
You
Yeah.
can't. Zoom
Sorry.
took that away from you.
But yeah, we rolled up. About 30 minutes. I think we were the last ones to show up to the awards ceremony. There was one other team out there. They were so into it. They were taking so many pictures. They suddenly realized how far behind they were and what distance they had to travel. They texted Rally Master Jeff, "Hey, could you delay the awards for a little bit?"
Aw.
Yeah. And Jeff said, "How long, Dave?" And Dave said 3 hours, to wit, Jeff said, LOL, we'll see you later, and did not delay the awards.
Wow.
Nope.
So there's some great pictures if you follow Caddy Wrecker on Instagram of him and his nephew. They're like, well, now we're just going to go full tilt lunatic. And they stopped and took a bunch of pictures and met us all at the bar 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours later.
They had quite the adventure.
They really, really did. And it was funny. His nephew, like, flying out there to meet Dave, who had driven that thing all the way up the Alcan. Like his flight got canceled. He missed his connection and he's like, what do I do? And Dave kind of goes, welcome to travel, man. I mean, that's just how life works.
Right.
You know, go tell them you want to be here by this certain time. And when they don't play ball, they need to start throwing money at you. Yeah. So,
fortunately, he's going to somewhere that, I mean, it's not always that movable, but it's not like you're supposed to be in a job interview or your first day at, something that somebody's planning on picking you up and you don't have that kind of flexibility. So
we ran into Dave in Anchorage and he was killing like 3 hours waiting for his nephew to land. He'd already taken a couple of pictures, but to his credit, his nephew showed up, put on a moose onesie and leaned into it pretty hard.
That's
and
great.
their accommodations were exciting.
I still can't believe he drove a Dodge Dynasty from New Jersey to Anchorage and then around. Yeah.
And somebody is happy to have that thing now.
Use duct tape as a wheel
everything
control arm or something. Yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, probably. And despite like all his modifications, he still overpowered the rear air shocks on that car with everything that he had in it. It was pretty impressive.
Wow.
And it was the bar. We all found a bar that would take us all afterwards, and it was exactly the same thing as the Fat Mermaid. It was a Sunday, it was before the 4th. Yeah, it was Sunday night before the 4th of July. This poor lady is like wanting to go home, and then we all come rocking up in there, and she's like, "Oh my God, we're moving tables, rearranging. There's probably 50 plus of us in there," and she has no idea what to do with all of us until she starts bringing food out, and she's like prepared for just this ornery crowd. And she would be like, all right, I'm looking for, hey, everybody, I'm looking for Julian. And the entire crowd would go dead quiet. Like, Julian, what did they order? They had, Julian with the cheeseburger with no lettuce. Oh yeah, no problem. And then she realizes, wow, what a lovely cooperative bunch of people. And they tip well. But when Dave and his nephew came in wearing the moose onesies, some locals from the other side came over and said, all right, we got to know what's going on here. What is this?
Yeah.
Yes. Were you still wearing a astronaut, a spaceman? Spaceman?
I was not, but I was at a point in the evening because I didn't have to drive home where my hair was in the 2 pigtails on the side, which probably got some raised eyebrows from, non-rally people.
Yeah. Never see him again.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So rally's over now.
Yes.
Except it's not. There's a special event the next day.
And
you alluded to this. You talked a little bit about it, but I think
Jeff is very careful to delineate that this was not a lemon sanctioned event, but we did go to the famous Glacier Bay Car Launch, and it was a whole year. And really, we were there to see the death of the K. So many people wanted to see the K die.
So what is the Glacier Bay Car Launch?
And
for those that don't know.
Yeah, there will be a link in our show notes. I just posted the video last night. It is where a glacier has carved a river through a lovely part of Alaska out the middle of nowhere. I know a lot of people wanted to see a live broadcast. There were no bars. Just no one has, there are parts of this world where there's just no reception. And this was one of them, but it's, easily 1,000-foot, I don't want to say cliff, but certainly drop off. And if the car gets there early enough, abandoned cars, they actually have a steam rail contraption that will send them off the mountain. Otherwise, they do the steering wheel held in place by the seat belt, brick on the accelerator, push it thing, and cars go flying off.
It's impressive. It really is.
Into the abyss. And it is. If you are remotely a gearhead, it is something that you should see once in your life. Go up there. The guy, I guess, that owns the property, the announcer, bit of an idiot. and for some reason felt like because he had the microphone, everyone was interested in his opinion on family values and the
Oh.
number of genders and various political situations that, dude, just send the car off the cliff.
What?
I stopped caring really, really long time ago about any of this. You know, we get it. You're very, very conservative up here. No one is surprised. It's Alaska. The guy parking our car had a 357 on his hip. And Stobbs goes, wow, that's a lot for parking lot security. Oh, no, nope. That's for the bear. That's actually not, I mean, that is genuinely in case a bear shows up, because that's a thing here that happens. And, you know, we end up chatting with a guy who talked about how his neighbor shot a guy for trespassing. It's Alaska.
As one does.
Yes. And that was Jeff's worst nightmares, that one of us was going to go do our, you know, goofball Lemons routine on the wrong chunk of property. But I would argue that Lemons Rally people are a charming lot, and very few people ever feel threatened by us, even when they're dressed as bears. So yes, go to the Glacier Bay Car Launch. We were there to see the demise of the K. Once the K left, we kind of tried to beat the crowd out. You had to hike about a mile to get in and out. And I caught an early ride with Nick and Jeff back to Anchorage, stayed in the hotel, and caught my unbelievably or inexplicably routed through Minneapolis to come back to Las Vegas flight back home from Anchorage.
Oh no, that's
Now,
awful.
not
Yes.
everyone knows what the K is. That
Oh.
I mean, we're going
Oh,
back.
thank
a little
you
bit
for
here in
that.
Lemons
Thank
history.
you.
We
What-
are.
I mean, I can give you a break and tell the story of the K briefly. I mean, this has been a mental heavy show. So, all right, it started off. There hadn't been a K car in Lemons. NSF decided they were going to solve this problem. They ended up with a blue wood grain Plymouth Reliant wagon, and they raced it once, and it was terrible as expected. And they said, we don't really want to do this anymore. They had other terrible products to go to. So they said, all right, any team that wants to have this car can have it, and then just pass it along, keep it moving. So this initially seemed like a great idea. And it started a thing that they called K It Forward, where a team would take the car, prep it for a race it, and then it would go to another team and another team. And anyone who's done a race knows that occasionally you have to make a field expedient repair when you don't have a huge amount of time or something just goes wrong. As the K went along in various people's hands for very short times, it became nothing but field expedient repairs. Essentially, the entire car was a field expedient repair.
And randomly, someone would totally swap out the engine with something like a V6, a Mitsubishi
Right.
V6.
It started with a the normal Chrysler 2.2, and then someone rebuilt it, and then it had a 2.5, and then I think someone had a turbo, and then they said, and then they all keep blowing up. And then someone, it might have been Sasha, said, all right, the K car minivans had that Mitsubishi V6. That's got to be better. So that ended up with it for a long time. The car crisscrossed the country so many times. It almost killed Steve McDaniel. It almost killed Sasha. Ratchet straps were definitely used to hold the engine in place
almost killed,
multiple times.
Doug.
Yeah, DC Doug almost died as well. It crisscrossed the country so many times, and it failed spectacularly so often and broke so many hearts, except once it did okay at Road America. I think it might have won the seat.
It won IOE at Road America. It was the last car to win IOE at Road America in Lemons.
Yeah. And so anyway, this car, and occasionally it would then rear its ugly head, and everyone would cower in fear of, no, not the K, not the K. There are just so many terrible, terrible ways that the K was involved. I think the K was involved in the worst road trip ever. That was Phil and Rich.
I was thinking of this one.
Some others.
The Checker Marathon was involved
in the Checker Marathon, right? And it was
Colorado Hills,
like not kidding, 28 degrees below zero. They're
right. Yep.
They are like, their tools are physically breaking from the cold. They can't get out. Like go read Phil's stuff about the worst road trip ever. It's great. And of course, he has a press loaner AMG E63 wagon. I
think I'll see if I can't find that article and make sure it's linked in the show notes on this one.
It's a great thing. And somewhere that they've documented the history of the K. But anyway, this car it's very widely regarded, I think, as the worst Lemons car of all time. And it had enough tries to back that up.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it disappears again for a long time. No one really knows where the K is. And suddenly pops up again that NSF has it back and that Sasha was going to take it up to Alaska to do this, just to toss it off a cliff. And everyone was excited to see the K finally die.
Sasha even told me that the curse of the K, he knew it was going to be sketchy driving that up the Alaska-Canada highway, the Alcan. And he said no sooner did he get out of cell phone range than a mysterious short started to pop up and would like just randomly, like the car would kind of stutter. You know, maybe I'm going to break down. Yeah. And just to paralyze Sasha with fear. I do have this. Now, the Glacier Bay Car Launch, we talk about the cars go flying off the cliff. Just to show you how terrible the K is, I want you to understand how badly it even killed itself. Now, well, as I hit share, hopefully this will let me do this. That is Julian Cordell, his niece Grace, Dominic's daughter, and his very impressive son, Julian. These are all wonderful, wonderful people. If it lets me connect. All right.
You're having some trouble this evening, so I don't have a lot of hope, but we can
there
try.
we go. All right. So we can play. Did I share with sound?
We can hear. We can hear.
There we go.
It's very clippy. This is not good.
There's the van. Look at the pathetic way that the K just goes off.
The K just kind of falls off the cliff. It
Exactly.
doesn't leap.
That forest that you see there at the tree line is one that went the farthest over there.
You should stop it, Mental. It's not.
Yeah.
There's the black van.
The K was just, it couldn't even die right.
It was a very K kind of death. Just like, falls off the side of the cliff.
Exactly. And so they of course had to go in there and make sure that it was good and proper dead. And what I think one of the persons trying to save it was Amanda Tully. So Julian wrote all kinds of fun things on there. Amanda,
and she was
Tully,
talking back. So they're like, Amanda Tully hates or microwaves her
fish
pizza or something like that.
Amanda,
yes. She's like, I don't even have a micro.
Yeah, she doesn't return her shopping carts. She doesn't rewind her VHS. She likes BTS. Which then she immediately thought that was some sort of sexual inference. We're like, nope, Korean K-pop.
Yep.
Yep, that happened.
All right. So in general, Mental, overall rating, how was your trip?
10 of 10. Absolutely would do again. And it's that thing that Jeff likes to say that we've all echoed. You know, if you go on one of these things and every miserable thing that happened to you over the weekend is a reason to never do it again, you're going to hate a rally. If you sit there and chuckle about, yeah, we saw a lion, a rhinoceros, and monkeys, go on a rally. The next one coming up is the Rust Belt Ramble. I'm getting a text from Tyler Stank about potential terrible Rust Belt Ramble cars.
Anybody want a Corvette? Rally proven.
Yeah. Boom. Rally proven Corvette. And it's a great way to get involved with a community of like-minded lunatics without having to go racing. I did a show, the Durf has or the Dur Die show, and they were talking about rallies because they're all Porsche guys. They're like, rallies are for nerds and they're da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, that's not an insult. Yeah. If you're a car nerd and you find yourself longing for the community of other car nerds, especially if you like bad cars, 100% go do a Lemons rally. You won't be disappointed.
Hell, just pretty sign up and pretty glowing there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish we didn't live on opposite ends of the country. This is how we all met, doing lemon style rallies long before Lemons rallies existed. So,
hey, there's lots of years to go. All right. So I think we've got, I just came up with an idea for a potential Just a Tip.
Sure. I'm going to embarrass myself with this one. Go for it.
Just the tip. Go ahead.
All right, Menzel, give us some Alaska safety tips, things you learned being in Alaska that people might not know otherwise to be safe.
I kind of knew this one because I've had friends who've lived in Alaska. Moose kill more people than bears in Alaska. All right. They are the size of F-350s. I'm not exaggerating. They're like 10 to 12
Did
feet
you see
tall.
them?
I did. We saw two moose.
Just two. You went all the way freaking across Alaska and you saw two?
Sorry.
Wow.
Were
Yeah,
either of them
that's it.
drunk?
How do you
All right,
get
so
a moose
4
drunk?
moose. I saw 4 moose.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you drunk or the moose drunk?
No,
I was saying, how you?
yeah.
Oh, either one. No, there was a what this American Life or something. There was a drunk moose in Alaska because it was eating a pile of fermenting crab apples and right behind a restaurant, and it
Forgot
just
about
got
that.
Yeah.
hammered. It stood there, and they were just making like this moose is hammered.
Yeah.
forgot
And
about
what they'll do is they'll come up to you and it's not even like they're going to charge you with their antlers. They'll just take one of their legs and clop you in the chest. But that's a 700-pound blow with the force that they put behind it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And people think,
don't mess with moose.
They're like, oh, moose, they're cute. They're not aggressive. No, but they're
They
huge.
are.
And the slightest little thing that they would do would absolutely kill you. Sort of a deal. Alaska safety tips. You have frost heaves where basically water gets under the ground, freezes, expands, and then contracts. So the road will literally undulate. And you'll be driving along the springtime at a reasonable rate of speed, and you'll suddenly come across one of these things. Jeff got the traction control to engage in his Volkswagen Atlas because he spun the front wheels just driving the speed limit. And if you ever met Jeff Stobbs, he is adamant about driving the speed limit everywhere he goes because he was a police officer. And doing the speed limit, he got a Atlas damn near airborne, and they'll just pop up on you. So you've got to be vigilant. The road just changes every year after winter leaves. The frost does that. So your car goes flying up into the air. And Chris hinted at it early on. All of the really, really simple things, just change them. All right. Change your battery, have good tires, all this other kind of stuff, because you being stuck on the side of the road, in Pennsylvania versus you being stuck on the side of the road in rural Alaska, you're going to be there a couple of days in Alaska, and you're not walking because it's 40 miles and there's a moose. So, just do the basic safety stuff on your vehicle. Yes, Chrissy.
I forgot to ask you a question. I'm pretty sure I saw at least one video. I think that was early on of you wearing shoes and pants. Did you wear shoes and pants the whole time?
I wore boots. Now I had shorts for when I was wearing the reflective spaceman outfit. But if I wasn't wearing the reflective spaceman outfit, I had long pants on, and actually most days a coat, because it would one time, I think it got to like 80. The rest of the time it was kind of drizzly and gray and windy and strange. And my blood is way too thin for that.
I was glad to
Plus
see that you wore
mosquitoes.
some
The
shoes.
long sleeves help
Right,
with the
right, right.
mosquitoes.
No, it doesn't. They will suck your blood through your pants. They absolutely, they were like going through khakis and trying to kill me. And they would have carried off Moko if he'd have been there. The mosquitoes are giant.
Oh, and are you one? I guess you're one of those people that bugs really like you. There's people that bugs attract them, and other people that don't. I am one of those.
If it breeds in Alaska, I think
Oh, okay.
That.
go
So
there,
I constantly found myself, and actually, it's not just the very lemony kind of a deal, but very Alaska-y type thing is people just help each other out. Somebody always had bug spray. And so that was
Good.
my scent for the week was Deep Woods DEET,
Yes,
so.
right. Yes, screw the DEET. You'll die of something. It might be the bugs that are eating you. So there's that.
I initially was with you, but when we were digging the eagle out of that, I ended up like putting the hood over my face, tightening it up
Wow.
over my mouth, and sticking my hands in
Wow.
my pockets because the mosquitoes were so horrid. I would have
It
taken
sounds
chemical
wonderful.
poisoning over that. You get near the ocean and there is no problem, but you get up there in the woods a little bit, and they've got like 2 months to eat. And
You're so convincing. It's amazing.
But so if you go stay near the coastal areas, because there weren't that many mosquitoes. It's a beautiful place and it's full of wonderful people. Go visit.
That's more convincing. Thanks for your safety tips. We will note them. If you're ever going, here's some list of things that you should be careful for.
Yes. And if you're going, you will not be going with lemons because it was a one and done kind of a deal. So there's a lesson for you. If you see something that looks like it's going to be a crazy good time, just do it.
Just do it. Is it too much work? You burn bridges, dangerous?
No.
They just...
No. Aside from like typical rally frustration, it was wonderful. And I
was wondering why they weren't going back.
Oh yeah. Too much squeeze, not enough juice. And as Jeff said, it's one road. It would end up being the same rally again. And that's the Bay Rally.
Right. Got it.
Just the same thing every year. That's lame. They're trying to be inventive. So
got it. Well, great. Thanks for telling us about this lovely adventure. The social medias were blowing up, not just yours and ours. It was a lot of other teams. They were posting so much. We were really getting a feel for what everybody was experiencing. So any of the breakdowns, and we were like, oh, I didn't realize that guy was there. So looked like just a fantastic time. That's all I saw on my Facebook feed. And of course, since you guys are on the other side of the actual country, all of the timing of the posts were weird. So I was like, I was just waking up, and you're like, just showing. It was just timing was weird.
But it looks like it's 4:00 in the afternoon when I'm posting at 11:45 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Pretty much.
Yep. Also, by the time you get to service, who knows?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Pretty much. Okay. Wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
speaking
so.
of, I think, when the adventure presents when an opportunity presents an opportunity for adventure, you should jump on it.
Good.
What are we talking about next week?
I don't know. Let's leave this open. We have some ideas. Well, just until we figure out, we have some ideas. We'll come back with something next week.
More stuff we've done lately, really. We've been doing a lot of stuff. That's why we weren't here for a while. Anyway. Hey, thanks for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this mosquito-ridden edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of rallying, driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. Not going to charge you, even on the toll road. Then go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you didn't like us, give us 5 stars and tell us why, and we'll read it. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on any of the places. Facebook, Everyone Racers. Email us, everyone.racers@gmail.com. Text Mental 484-243-0455. Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers. YouTube and Facebook, Everyone Racers. Even Reddit/E1R. Thanks again. And until next week, keep the painted side, artistically painted eagle side up. And if there isn't one of those, then just leave it in a field. It's fine.